the forest road. The morning mist clung to the tall pine trees like a whispered secret. Sarah pulled her worn coat tighter around her shoulders as she walked slowly down the forest road. Her blonde hair caught the pale sunlight filtering through the canopy above. In her arms, she carried two small bundles wrapped in soft pink blankets. The road stretched ahead of her, empty and quiet, except for the gentle rustling of leaves in the cool breeze. Sarah's footsteps were soft against the damp asphalt, each step heavier than the last. She had been walking for nearly an hour, and her heart felt as heavy as the gray clouds gathering overhead. Behind her, the distant hum of a car engine grew closer. Sarah barely noticed. Her mind was elsewhere, lost in the weight of the decision she was about to make. The two babies in her arms stirred slightly, their tiny faces peaceful in sleep. They were beautiful, with rosy cheeks and delicate features. That reminded her so much of their father, but their father was gone now. He had left 3 months ago, taking with him not just his love, but also Sarah's savings, her hope, and her ability to provide for these precious lives she had brought into the world. The eviction notice in her apartment had been the final blow. With no job, no family to turn to, and no way to care for 2 newborn babies, Sarah felt trapped in a nightmare with no way out. The car behind her slowed as it approached. Through the windshield, Marcus Richardson watched the scene unfold before him. He was on his way back from a business meeting in the mountains, his mind typically focused on quarterly reports and board meetings. But something about the lone figure walking down this remote forest road caught his attention. Marcus had built his fortune from nothing. At 35, he was the CEO of Richardson Industries, a company that had grown from a small startup in his garage to a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He understood struggle, though his current life of luxury sometimes made those early days feel like a distant memory. As his car drew closer, Marcus could see more clearly. The woman was young, maybe in her early 20s, with an air of quiet desperation about her. She was carrying something in her arms, moving with the careful, protective posture of a mother. When she stopped beside a massive oak tree near the roadside, Marcus felt compelled to stop as well. He pulled his black sedan to the shoulder of the road and stepped out quietly. The forest was so still that even the soft click of his car door seemed loud. Marcus stayed back, instinctively knowing that whatever was happening here was deeply personal and fragile. Sarah knelt beside the ancient oak tree, its trunk so wide that it would take several people holding hands to encircle it. The ground beneath was soft with fallen leaves and moss. She placed the 2 bundles gently on a bed of pine needles, her hands trembling as she arranged their blankets. "I'm so sorry," she whispered to the sleeping babies. "I don't know how to take care of you. I don't have money for food or medicine. I can't even keep a roof over your heads." Her voice broke, and tears began to fall freely down her cheeks. "Maybe someone will find you who can give you the life you deserve, someone who can love you the way you should be loved." From his position near the car, Marcus felt his chest tighten. He had never been married, never had children of his own. His life had been consumed by business, by the drive to succeed and accumulate wealth. But watching this young mother's anguish touched something deep within him that he had forgotten existed. Sarah kissed each baby gently on the forehead, her tears falling onto their soft blankets. She stood slowly, taking one last look at their peaceful faces. Then she turned and began walking away, each step an act of pure heartbreak. That's when Marcus stepped forward. "Wait," he called softly, not wanting to startle her. Sarah spun around, her eyes wide with fear and surprise. She saw a tall man in an expensive suit, his dark hair slightly disheveled from the mountain wind. His expression was kind but serious. "Please, don't leave them," Marcus said, approaching slowly with his hands visible, the way one might approach a frightened animal. "There has to be another way." Sarah's first instinct was to run, but exhaustion and despair had drained her of the energy to flee. "You don't understand," she said. her voice barely above a whisper. "I can't take care of them. I have nothing. No home, no job, no money for formula or diapers or anything they need." Marcus looked at the two babies, still sleeping peacefully. Under the oak tree, oblivious to the crisis surrounding their young lives, something shifted inside him, a recognition of purpose he had never felt before. "What if you didn't have to do it alone?" he asked gently. Sarah stared at him, confusion mixing with hope in her tired eyes. "I don't know what you mean." Marcus took a deep breath. He was about to make a decision that would change not just his life, but the lives of these three strangers, forever. "My name is Marcus Richardson. I own Richardson Industries. I have more money than I know what to do with, but I've never had a family. What if we helped each other?" The forest seemed to hold its breath as Sarah processed his words. "I don't understand," she repeated. "I'm not talking about charity," Marcus said carefully. "I'm talking about partnership. You're their mother. They need you, but you need support, stability, resources. I can provide those things. In return, I get to be part of something meaningful, something more important than profit margins and stock prices." Sarah looked from Marcus to her babies and back again. "You're a stranger. Why would you do this?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, searching for words to explain something he didn't fully understand himself. "Because 20 years ago, I was sleeping in my car, wondering where my next meal would come from. Someone helped me then, gave me a chance when no one else would. Maybe this is how I'm supposed to pay that forward." The sound of the babies stirring brought both adults back to the immediate moment. One of them began to fuss, the tiny cry piercing. The forest, quiet. Sarah's maternal instincts kicked in immediately, and she knelt beside them, soothing them with gentle words. Marcus watched her natural grace with the children and knew his instinct was right. "What are their names?" he asked. "Emma and Grace," Sarah said, lifting Grace into her arms as the baby's cries grew stronger. "They're 6 weeks old." "And what's your name?" "Sarah Collins." Marcus knelt beside the oak tree, looking at little Emma, who was still sleeping peacefully. "Hello, Emma," he said softly. "Hello, Grace. I'm Marcus. I think we're going to take very good care of each other." As the three of them sat beneath the ancient oak tree, something new was born. Not just hope, but the beginning of an unexpected family. The forest road that had seemed like an ending became a beginning instead. Marcus helped Sarah to her feet, and together they walked toward his car, carrying Emma and Grace toward a future none of them could have imagined just an hour before. The mist was beginning to lift, and pale sunlight broke through the clouds, warming the forest path ahead.